welcome to the Groovy Puzzlers. Woo! Woo! This is a very special Groovy Puzzlers because it's the third year in a row, and also I think it's the first time ever in Greece as well. And even more special because it's the first time we present the third edition as well. So I'm very excited. My name is Noam. I work at CodeFresh. You can see me tweet at Noam Tenne. And I would like also to present my co-host, a very special person. I think one of the most legendary code wranglers in the world. I give you people El Groovissimo!
El Groovissimo! Hello, everyone.
Very mysterious. I don't know who this is. He just appeared. Some guy, a random guy from the street. I think he's drunk.
That will happen shortly.
Okay, just one more mention, okay? This talk wouldn't have been able to happen without the great guys at JFrog, where it also all started, the Groovy Puzzlers. And most important, Baruch Dugorski. For those of you who know him, excellent dude. He curates all the puzzlers, so he deserves also many applause.
Yeah, big applause for Baruch.
Okay. So what is Groovy Puzzlers? Groovy Puzzlers is based on the old Java Puzzlers game. Thank you, Alberto. Based on the old Java Puzzlers game given by Neil Gafter and Josh Block at Java 1. So they used to display these huge-ass puzzles in Java. I think each one was maybe like 5 slides long. And then you'd have to type it all in because you'd never memorize it, and then you'd have to try and guess what the hell it does. And this game is the same way, only groovy and smaller. A lot easier to digest as well.
Yeah, of course there are plenty of Java puzzles. Come on, this is huge verbosity in the language, and Groovy is so concise, so short. There shouldn't be any puzzles, isn't it?
Yes.
So we should be finished with this talk very quickly.
5 minutes, I think. 5 minutes of your time.
Okay, 5 minutes stops.
5 minutes of your time. So how does it work? First off, you have 2 entertaining gentlemen at your service. We will give you some weird questions, some mysterious code perhaps. We'll give you some options. You will have to think what the correct answer is. We will ask you to vote. So it's very important that you vote and don't be shy. First and foremost because that's the game. And second because you get some really cool t-shirts.
For the first one that gets the first round answer.
Yes.
So be sure to vote.
So t-shirts will be flying around as well. So just watch yourself, And also, if you enjoy yourself, feel free to tweet and mention us. We would really enjoy it as well. So, you're all very smart people. And you all have computers, and you have phones, and you have tablets. But please don't cheat, okay? So, you can take all the codes that's here and try and run it, but that wouldn't be fair. It's better off when you try to figure it out all by yourself.
Yeah, don't cheat or I will German suplex you.
We had a really good punishment. What was the last punishment for people who cheat?
They will have to write a Scala code.
With no documentation.
Using Emacs, even worse.
Emacs. And the mouse. So all the puzzles here are, like I said, standard Groovy code. Afterwards, you could take the presentation, you can take the code, just paste it into the Groovy console, and that would work as is. So it's all valid. So, are we ready? Yeah! Groovissimo is not satisfied. Don't make him punch you. So let's start. First of all, compliments. And Groovissimo, you're my role model.
Okay.
Awkward. Thank you. So first puzzle. What do we see here? Very easy, okay? Why are you laughing? So you can see that we declare a list, give it 3 items, 3 strings, okay? We iterate over that list, but then we try to convert it into an array. So we ask you what will happen. Take a minute, it's okay.
So we have 4 answers, so possible answers. You guys tell us. Will it be an exception? Would it print nice things about Scala? A chance happening in a Groovy conference. Would it be another kind of exception? Or we get some weird printout?
So who votes for 1? Who thinks there's no such property? People of little faith.
Nobody wants number of.
Okay. Who thinks Scala is all those things? Well, you don't have to actually think it, but who do you think? Who thinks that will be the output?
Okay, we have 1 brave soul.
1 brave soul. Only 1? 2. 2 brave souls. Okay.
The staircase is down the way, please.
And who thinks it'll be an array store exception, which will be very weird? Well, you're making a mistake, but okay. And who thinks it'll be just the weird printout of the Java object identification? Also a couple of other people. Oh, okay, okay. Well, whoever answered the number 2, you were wrong.
Ha!
Ha! Tricked you. But yeah, that's true. It's an array store exception. And you might ask yourself, an array store exception? Like, what the fuck? So, Andrés, do me a favor. G-string is not a string.
Well, it turns out, as you guys know, that Groovy is a very sexy language because it has G-strings, also known as Groovy strings. But Groovy strings clearly are not the same thing as a string.
Yeah, so we created a G-string, okay, once we construct it. But then we try to put it into a typed array, so it explodes, basically.
In many cases, Groovy will automatically coerce a Groovy string into a string, but this is not one of those. So this object is not of the right type that we're trying to put right there, so clearly that creates a problem.
So how do we fix this in Groovissimo? I think first we can, well, create it with a new G-string array, I guess, which is not very elegant.
At least sexy.
It is sexy. We can just give it an object array.
Everything is an object anyway.
Or just simply call it to array with no, which is exactly like the second option. So
actually, there is a 4th one. If you explicitly cast or coerce the Groovy string to be a string.
That too.
That looks, yeah, you have options.
Don't point out my mistakes, please.
So who gets a T-shirt?
Who voted for number 3? Many of you. I think we can give Ivan the first honor.
Thank you.
And also many thanks to Sergey, a cool guy from Rebel, who found that out. Okay, next up, spread the words.
The first rule about the Groovy community is you talk about Groovy to your coworkers and your friends.
Yes, very educational. So right now we have a list with some lyrics for 2 very good songs. And then we have another list, which we then coerce to an array. Okay? We have a method, has two arguments, prints those 2 arguments. Then we had 4 method invocations. So if we pasted this into the console, or wherever you write your Groovy code, what would be the output? I give you the options.
So if we invoke the first method, what will happen?
Well, obviously, it'll just be, hey, Jude. So, I mean...
So who says option number 1?
Option 1, no one.
You guys don't want a T-shirt? Okay. Option number 2.
No T-shirts for you.
I'm going out on a limb, and at least half of you will say option number 3, isn't it?
No, not many of
I start to see a pattern here.
Maybe, what about option number 4? Who thinks option number 4? Okay, that's a few. Some of you guys are not voting. I see you. And Groovissimo will punch you. or wrestling. Okay, so whoever chose option number 3 was correct. Whoever didn't, well, that's you. So, and Groovissimo, what's going on?
Well, the thing is, okay, so we have an object array. This is the only way that you can create objects or any kind of array in Groovy, isn't it? Using coercion of list or a collection. And then we have a method that takes 2 arguments. How many arguments are we sending there? 1. Exactly. So why did you thought this was going to work? If we actually take in 2 elements.
Or, like one of my favorite movies, Charlie, don't surf. Not many, I mean, yeah. It's an old movie, I'm sorry. Yes, very good. So, okay. Okay, so we'll let that one go, okay? We'll comment that line out, but we ask you again, then what will be printed?
Who says option number 1?
Option number 1.
Option number 2.
Number 2? No number 2.
No takers.
3.
No t-shirt.
What about 3? Okay, okay. Some for 3. How about 4? Okay, okay. I think this one will be a success because whoever said option number 1
You
wins.
are the winner.
Very good. Take a t-shirt, sir. Give it to him. But the rest of you be like, what's going on here? Kind of like a stink eye, isn't it? The kind, that's like the face my mom gives me when I tell her I smoke weed. So, so let's see what's going on.
Yeah, first there is a typo right there. Should not be an array. Should be a list. Anyway. But
Yes.
it's kind of like the same code that we saw earlier, right? So say that's a list. Then we have the same method that takes 2 arguments, and we invoke the method with how many arguments? 1 argument. So what is it working?
Well, when we said that arrays don't spread, we lied. Arrays don't spread implicitly. But if we just call it explicitly, then it'll work, just like with a list.
So if you didn't know this is called the spread operator. And this will expand the contents of that array and will try to match the arguments of a particular method, of course, by runtime type.
Great, great. So thank you to Alexi for this puzzle as well. He also got a t-shirt. Next puzzle, DC versus Marvel. Who here likes DC? Who here likes Marvel? DC. Marvel.
The stairs are down way?
No way. It's totally a Marvel house. I'm leaving, man.
Come on, it's only Batman and Superman. Superman's a pansy. Martha? Are you kidding me?
We'll settle that later.
My mother's name is Martha.
I'm not scared of you. I'm Groovissimo.
Sorry, you haven't seen the movie. Forget.
Let's get to the puzzle. A bit longer, I'm sorry. So, let's see. First of all, we have a method, okay, which gives us our hero. It returns a map with the name of the hero and whichever team the hero is part of, either DC or Marvel, okay? Then we have a global field where we have all of the options. We create basically an array, sorry, a list, and call the hero method just to create the object. Then we have a method which lets you pick the team you want, either DC, which is the best, or Marvel, which sucks. And then you just invoke the method and print whatever the team you've picked. So, I know it's large, I made it just a bit smaller so you can also see the options. I think we'll get them this time in Groovissimo.
Just a few more seconds.
Yeah.
All right. Who says it's going to be option number 1?
Option number 1, okay.
One guy. Good. Option number 2.
Okay, 2 guys for number 3, 4, 5, 6. Great.
Option number 3.
It's totally there, guys. You know, you see, they all voted for Marvel, but now when it's one of the options, they don't want it anymore. Okay.
Because
what about
everybody
four?
wants to vote for the underdog, the one that doesn't win, right? Option number 4?
Cheeky. Okay, option number 4. So, all of you were proved wrong because the guy who wins was the guy who chose the missing method exception. And I think, yeah, Yogi, he got that one right. Very good. We're proud of you, man.
Sorry.
So with the rest of you are probably extremely disappointed that Marvel didn't win, like they don't win anything else. But the problem is, a closure ain't no predicate, guys. So the Groovy documentation clearly specifies that it's coerced. So, and Groovissimo, why?
So
Why do we get that?
usually, so this is kind of like a historical thing. I think, Cedric, are you in the house? Yes. Probably we changed this in Groovy 2.2 or so when we added implicit coercion of functional types, from closures to functional types. Before this, you have to use the as keyword to transform a closure or coerce a closure into a particular type. After that version, you could let go of the as keyword and whatever the type, and the closure will be automatically coerced into the right thing. But we have a special syntax there, which is variable argument. So this is the one case where implicit coercion will not occur. You have to do it by hand.
So how do I fix my build now? Well, it's very easy. I just explicitly coerce it, and that works. That tends to work, I think. No, I checked that it works. Sorry?
Oh yeah, it's because we ignore generics in Groovy. They're there just for people that would like to copy and paste code from Java to Groovy, but in real case, if you're using dynamic Groovy, then generics are completely ignored. If you're using a static Groovy, then generics are actually taken into account.
Okay, great, and thanks, Andre, for this puzzle as well. Right, next up, well, I think we can all agree on Captain Picard, that he's cool. There's no argument here.
Okay, wait. A quick poll. Star Wars? Okay, most of you. Star Trek? So most of you. I'm so sad because all of you are wrong. It's actually Stargate. The best franchise ever.
Nerd. Okay, let's see the puzzle. So we've got a captain selector class, because we always have to choose, sadly. Then we've got two pick methods. One is for Captain Kirk, and one is for Captain Picard. So we ask you, who takes control of the Enterprise?
So if we invoke this method with those arguments, what's going to happen? Let's see the options.
The options once more. Again, we'll make it smaller just so you can still see it and think. But we could have Kirk back on after many years, I think.
Is it going to be James Tiberius Kirk?
Picard fans in the house. Represent. Method not found.
Right.
Okay. And just plain old compilation error. Boring.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
You actually don't believe this code works.
Smart people. Like I said, it's a smart bunch.
You guys are the Star Wars fans.
It works! And it's Kirk, isn't it?
Because the only one true captain on the AC-17 is James Tiberius Kirk.
Wait, who voted for Kirk?
Yeah.
Good people. Okay. So let's see. Why does it behave this way?
Because you notice that we are defining the method signature using default values for parameters, which actually turns out what the Groovy compiler does is that it generates the following signatures on the following methods. The first method will call on, actually this one will call on the second one, which will call on the first one, passing null as an additional argument. But the same thing will happen here. Now you will notice there are two possible candidates when we invoke a method with three arguments. So, based on an option having one or the other, which method will the Groovy runtime select?
But it's null values, so
The important thing is that we send in null as a value on each one of the second and the third argument. So, what is the type of null? Does null have a type?
nope.
Right. So, what happens?
Okay, so yeah. So whenever we face having to choose, like to pick the method, okay, and match it, first of all, we have to figure out whether it's a null type or not, right? I mean, a null value or not. Correct. Okay. So what will happen in these two flows? So when giving a non-null value, okay, well, we'll try to match the type, obviously.
So yeah, see, if you send an integer wrapper and the method takes an integer, an int primitive, it will still try to match.
But giving a null value, things get a little stranger.
Exactly, because given that we don't have a type, Groovy will try to match the most generic type. And what is the most generic type that we have?
Object, very good.
You will think it's object.
But unless
Unless it happens to be a collection class or a class. Because if we go back to the code, and instead of saying, what type does selector have here? Object. Exactly. But if I define this as class or a collection, then this still will be the first one. So if I change this now to be collection and I left the other one as object, you'll be surprised that the selected captain will be Jean-Luc Picard.
yes. Say what? But that's why we love Groovy, isn't it? Okay, so how can we fix this? Well, don't write shit code. That's how. Great, very good. So thank you, Jim, for this excellent puzzle. Next up, we have liftoff. I've always wanted to visit space. Not space out, just real space, like on SpaceX mission, stuff like that. When they start transferring people, I want to be there. In the meantime, I'm writing code. So let's see. So we've got a map with a string and an integer. Well, basically string and integer generics don't actually contain these values. Then, well, this is really similar to puzzles we had in former years, because every year of the puzzles, we have a puzzle where we're like clowns and we insert a G-string into a map and try to extract a string from a map, and then it doesn't work. Like, oh, why do we have null values suddenly? Because G-strings aren't strings.
Yeah, remember kids, never use G-strings as map keys.
Unless you're looking for a good time. And then it's fine.
So we have, what we have here, a Groovy string as a key.
Yes, that's the key, but it's actually like an integer value within the Groovy string. So then we try to iterate over it and print everyone so that we can announce our liftoff, like 3, 2, 1 liftoff. So, but first we collect the values, we extract it from the Groovy string, and then we try to fetch that from the map. Don't ask us why. So what are the options? Do we get a missing property exception for some reason?
Who says number one?
Number one. Do we get string 3, string 2, blah, 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 liftoff? 1, 2, okay. Do we just get null, null, null? Okay. How about just plain old 3, 2, 1, we have liftoff? Okay.
Okay, the audience is divided on this one.
Very divided, yes. But I assure you this code works, El Groovissimo. I'm innocent. It really does work.
What?
Say what? But I see Jeff voted that it works. Yeah, yeah. But does Jeff know why? You still get a t-shirt, man.
You can have a t-shirt, Jeff.
You have to earn it. But can anyone guess, though, why it would work? even if you haven't voted. I mean, it's fine. Okay, Jim Carrey. Why does it work? Yes.
We just say that you should, well, first you should not use Groovy strings as keys, but clearly this works, using a Groovy string as a key.
Yes. So first, when we insert all the keys and the values, okay, what actually happens is we create a G-string object, which contains an array of values and an integer as that value. Cool. Then we carry on and we collect all the values, okay? But we create a new G-string out of the former one. So we result in a G-string containing an array of values with a G-string containing an array of values with an integer inside. But then we read the first value, so we have the original G-string back up, and the map works just normal. Yes,
so
exactly.
We supply the original key, and it just matches directly.
No, I loved that response, which was a confused okay. Exactly.
Okay, what else?
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Vladimir, for giving that one. Cool guy, excellent. I love him. String mountain. So the next puzzle has a few parts. It's sort of an ascent onto a code mountain. I don't really know what I was trying to say here. I'm sorry. But just, pandas, guys, come on. First order of business. We have a method called stringify. It receives one argument, assigns it, then returns a G-string with that. But then prints it using like the default null value. So
you can do this in Groovy, right? You can invoke a method that takes an argument, but also simply invoke it without any arguments.
Just like JavaScript.
Yeah, this is broken code. No, sorry, no, this is not broken code. This is Groovy code.
Okay. Who says just be an empty string printed? Just nothing into the console, not the actual empty string phrase. You say empty string. Who says null pointer? Null pointer, okay.
Yes.
Who says just null but in... Nice, okay, they got one. They got that one, okay. And who says just plain old null? Right. You were correct. So, I see Stefan answered that one correctly. Very good. Take a t-shirt, man.
Wait a second. This is clearly a null value, right? That one was sending, and we're wrapping a null value inside a Groovy string. And when we transform that Groovy string into a string, then we should get null as null inside a string, right? That would be option 3.
Well, not without the brackets. It just prints plain old null, because when you plant a null value within a G string, it just takes the null as is string. I don't know. I'm probably not very clear.
Yeah, that's one of those. What else?
Yes.
It's one of the things that happens with Groovy. There's one specific corner case. In this case, the G string is null, so the contents of the G strings are null, so the whole thing prints out to be null.
Yep. But let's make the climb just a little more difficult. El Groovissimo, is that multiple assignment?
That is multiple assignment available since Groovy 1.7.
You write the silliest code, man. Okay, so given the exact same case where we have just like the default invocation, which passes a null value, then we have the multiple assignment. What then? Will we once more get an empty string? Empty string vote.
No one.
Null pointer exception. There's quite a lot of people for null pointer. Okay, how about just the null but in the brackets? Okay, and just plain old null. Also very divided.
Yeah, I know that option number 5 won a t-shirt, but why would it make sense again?
But whoever selected number 2 was absolutely correct. Win. You selected number 2. Yeah, okay. Well, I think he wins a T-shirt.
But care to explain why? Why would this code now throw a null pointer exception instead of printing out null? Because it tried to iterate, correct.
Yes, very good. So you were correct as, sorry. Yeah.
When it comes to multiple assignment, this left side, the right side argument is treated as a collection. But what value does that collection have? Is the null reference. So clearly this should trigger a null pointer exception.
Okay, so let's waste these people's time even more, where we say, now we accept the var args. But notice that there's no multiple assignment anymore. I deleted it. So, I mean, I think that's pretty self-explaining, isn't it? I don't think that's a very hard one.
Yeah, option 1?
Option 1.
1. Option 2, null pointer exception again. Is it going to be a collection with a null inside? Or is it going to be an empty collection?
Empty
All
collection.
right, I think it's divided.
Yes, so you were correct. You win a T-shirt, sir.
Why?
Why? Can anyone explain why?
There's an if and G-string, most likely. The implementation of G-string. If null, then this.
G-string?
No, there is no G string. There is just a plain string.
But afterwards, like if there's an empty array or something.
What? Empty array? Why is an empty
I
array?
mean, nil.
No. You were right. What is this thing?
It's an array.
Variable arguments, which are actually syntactic sugar for arrays. So
Yes.
this thing is actually an empty array.
Yes.
Yeah, so when you print it, I mean,
So we get that.
it's just an empty array. Yep. Very good, sir. Very good.
Now we go back
Remember this one?
and we combine the variable arguments plus the multiple assignment.
Now what? Come on. They know this stuff. It's just an
Yeah,
empty array.
this should be a work on the park.
Yeah. But
So-
that's... sorry.
Who says option number 1? Really? Okay. Option number 2.
Fools.
Option number 3. Aha.
Come on, man.
Option number 4. Just a few hands.
So, option number 3 is the winner. Yeah.
Why?
Why? Why indeed? We forgot to mention that it's expected to be a non-null array, or, well, list. Fair? It's fair? I mean,
Yeah, we're extracting at least one element out of that collection because the collection is empty. Boom, we get an error. So almost half of you voted for this one. So how are we going to do with T-shirt? Do we cut it in pieces?
yes. Or just no one gets it and I'll take it home. That's fine as well. We'll give them a knife and make them fight for it.
Okay.
Or wrestle you.
I guess.
I guess I really don't know. Who chose the correct answer? Quite a lot of you.
See, that's the problem. There's half of them.
Soren, I know you.
Oh, so that's how it is.
Yes, I'm an asshole. So this is actually a recurring joke. Well, that's very benevolent of you. So this is actually a recurring joke in the puzzlers. If you've seen it previously, you know that we have a thing for parentheses. Not anything sexual, just like we like parentheses. Yeah, you know, and this guy, Mr. McCarthy, was a big proponent for parentheses, but not in this case. So drop the parentheses in this case. And thank you for Joe Wolf. But now, I think we have a very special guest, El Groovissimo.
Yes, we do.
We have a visitor. Baruch. Yay! Baruch again. Baruch asks. Baruch asks. He wants to declare a method which accepts the vargs, but a typeless vargs. How would he go about doing that? I give you the options.
That's pretty strange looking Groovy code.
Yes.
Well, let's give it a try. So, def method with def var args and whatever the name of the variable. Who says number 1?
Number 1. Nice. Very good.
Def method weird variable name.
That makes no sense.
Def method def a weird variable name.
That makes even less sense.
Or you simply can't. Groovy is incapable of doing this.
Great. Well,
Is
number
there a fifth
2.
option? No.
Your Baruch's favorite. Very good, very good. Yeah, well, I mean, that's how you declare it. So thank you very much, Baruch, for this one. You had to go away. Wait, but who selected the correct answer? Have a t-shirt. Very good. Sadly, at Groovissimo, I think we're all out. But these guys look tired anyway. So just to conclude, the puzzlers, first of all, thank you very much for participating. Okay, we always have a lot of fun giving this talk. We really hope you have fun as well. Most important part of this talk is just respect the power that Groovy gives you. As you can see, you can produce many weird, strange behaviors with a lot of weird code. Try to keep it to the minimum, okay? And just some general guidelines is, well, make your code readable. If you've been to my clean code talk, then well, I've already hammered you that with the same information.
Yeah, write readable code and make sure that you also do peer reviews and do pair programming if possible, because what you believe is to be readable to you might not be readable to somebody else. That's definitely the case for my code.
Yeah. If you do any, jumping through hoops of fire and stuff like that, just, let the rest of the people in your team know. Sometimes, though, not in this edition, it's just a bug, okay? Sometimes we're tempted just to bring puzzles which are bugs. No bugs in this edition. Static analysis helps a lot. IntelliJ IDEA is probably the best for that as well.
Yes, this turned out not to be exactly a promotion but to a particular product, but if you're not using IntelliJ, then I don't know what you guys are doing. Perhaps you're using Beam, which is the second best IDE that you can use. If you use something else, please switch to IntelliJ. There is a free version out of that.
Just
and
not
also make
Eclipse.
sure that you use...
Just not Eclipse.
Yeah. Anybody here using Eclipse? Staircase is down there.
No t-shirts for you. And, of course, RTFM. That always produces good results.
Read the fine print.
Read the fine print. No, that's not what it says.
I know.
Okay. So, like I said, this is the third year in a row we're doing it. Maybe next time will be like, Neil Gafter and Josh Block, in overalls. That'll be quite a lot of fun. I mean, overall and the mask, it'll be fun. So, this is all, as you've seen, user submitted, right? If you do happen to come across some nice, interesting things, send it our way. This is how we keep this fun talk alive through every year. And also, if you send us your puzzlers, we promise to give you a cool t-shirt. And I think also even contest to that. We always pay our debts. Send a t-shirt, send a puzzle, get a t-shirt, and also get fame. Like you see, we credit the people who submit. If you've got feedback, just let us know on Twitter, both I or El Groovissimo, which has a weird handle. I don't know why you call yourself Almiray.
That's a weird guy from Mexico.
And if you've got negative feedback, well...
Thank you for being a great audience. Thank you for being here at GreatConf. Thank you, Alberto, Ivan, and everybody else of the GreatConf crew. We hope to see you next year, and keep on grooving.
Yeah, excellent conference, guys.